Finland has been forced to surrender the region of Karelia to the Soviet Union as part of a brutal peace treaty. The land is lost, but the scars of war remain fresh. Deep in the frozen north of Lapland lives Aatami Korpi, a former Finnish commando. Among soldiers, he is known by a terrifying name, the man who refuses to die. Aatami has survived countless battles, but nothing compares to the pain of losing his family, who were brutally murdered during the war. After discovering gold in the wilderness, Aatami makes a strange decision. He crosses the border into Soviet-controlled Karelia, returning to the land where his family once lived and died. Instead of seeking revenge, he dismantles the remains of his old home. Every plank, every beam, he loads it onto a truck, determined to rebuild it somewhere safe, as a final act of honor for his loved ones. But the Soviets quickly notice his presence. When the Red Army realizes that Aatami has crossed into their territory, panic spreads. They remember the legend, a man who slaughtered Soviet troops during the Winter War and never fell. The KGB responds by releasing Igor Dragunov, a ruthless killer imprisoned in Siberia. Dragunov is offered one thing: freedom. All he must do is kill Aatami Korpi. What Aatami does not know is the truth. Dragunov is the very man who murdered his family years ago. As Aatami drives west toward the Finnish border, Dragunov intercepts him with a squad of soldiers. The encounter turns violent. Aatami kills every man sent against him. Efficient, silent, unstoppable. But he spares Dragunov, unaware of who he truly is. That mercy becomes a mistake. Dragunov sends motor units and aircraft after Aatami. The chase becomes relentless. Bullets tear through the snow. Explosions light up the frozen sky. A bomber finally forces Aatami and his truck off a cliff, plunging them into the ocean. Against all odds, Aatami survives. He recovers the remains of his home from the wreckage. Using the broken logs, he builds a crude raft and sails back to shore. Exhausted and wounded, he stumbles upon an abandoned Soviet tank. Using stolen dynamite, Aatami launches the tank over a border checkpoint like a weaponized projectile. The tank is destroyed, and Aatami is left gravely injured. To survive, he buries a knife blade into his own flesh, keeping the wound open and alive. Moments later, he is captured. Dragunov personally takes Aatami prisoner and places him aboard a train bound for Siberia. There, Aatami is tortured. And finally, the truth is revealed. Dragunov calmly admits that he murdered Aatami's family. The revelation ignites something primal. Fueled by rage, Aatami breaks free, retrieves his knife, and begins cutting his way through the train. One by one, Soviet soldiers fall. Meanwhile, Dragunov murders his own KGB handlers, planning to escape with the front section of the train. As the train races forward, Aatami makes a shocking discovery: a ballistic missile on board. With no hesitation, Aatami activates it and uses it as a makeshift booster, propelling himself toward Dragunov's section of the train. The two men clash in a brutal final fight. Dragunov gains the upper hand, but Aatami refuses to die. He detaches the still-active missile and launches it directly into Dragunov. The explosion ends the man who destroyed his life. With his family finally avenged, Aatami recovers his home once more. He loads it onto a train car and crosses back into Finland, unchallenged. In the final moments, Aatami begins rebuilding his house. Several Finnish men approach and quietly offer their help. Aatami says nothing, but his gratitude is clear. The man who refused to die has finally found peace.